Donna Schwartz here from the Everything Saxophone podcast. We're here at NAMM 2022. This podcast is sponsored by Legere Reeds, and I'm here with JodyJazz. So great to see you again. It's been 2.5 years. It's crazy.
Yeah. Good to see you and back doing it. Hopefully we can get some info to people and everybody. I know everybody's been practicing over the pandemic because we've heard from everybody, and so everybody's just ready to get out there and play too. Yeah,
for sure. And I was walking around. This is before the show has started, by the way, and I came over here and I saw this sparkling mouthpieces that Jody is going to be talking to you all about in a second. I'm really intrigued by this. So, yeah, you know what? Let's get right into this. This is crazy.
Okay, so we're introducing the world's first hand-hammered mouthpiece. And hand hammering is an ancient tradition coming from Turkey where they hand hammer cymbals, and it makes the sound warmer. It changes the metal structurally. So what we tried, and we didn't know if it would work, and we've been experimenting with this for a while now, and is would it do the same for a mouthpiece? And it really does. And we're ready to do blindfold tests here. So what I have is I've brought an unhammered. Now this is a hard rubber shaped mouthpiece. Feel that weight.
Oh wow! That's heavy.
It's really.
That's really heavy.
It's really heavy, and a trend in the saxophone world is to put mass, to put heavy things on the horn, heavy screws, my power ring, and it adds this body to the sound. So we tried that with the mouthpiece. So what I have is a prototype that's unhammered. Now this mouthpiece has a nice big round chamber, but I got straight sidewalls because I was combining a straight ahead darkness with enough cut and projection. So I'm trying to put it right in the middle where a contemporary player who likes a good big fat bottom and a traditional player who needs a little cut. So it's kind of right in the middle. Anyway, we got the unhammered. I want to do a blindfold test, maybe with you later. And then we've got a hammered unplated. And I want you to hear the difference because it's significant, I believe. And it's like if you're blindfolded, which one are you going to pick? That's the whole thing, because our eyes, you're going to see this beautiful rose gold thing, and your eyes are just going to, exactly. It's really cool. But I want people to hear and feel the difference, because the hand hammer plays better. It's sweeter. It vibrates better. I mean, and the reed works better. It's really weird. And we have an expert who worked 20 years at Zildjian. He was the hand hammer guy. So this is not easy to do this. And so he's doing this for us, the hand hammering. And it's really cool.
This is just so stunning. Could you hold this up again? This is just crazy. I'm serious. When I walked around the corner, I looked at this and I'm like, that's like glowing. I mean, it's incredible. It's like jewelry. So your mouthpieces are always impeccable just to begin with. I mean, I'm not just saying that because you're here. I've known you, and when you were in New York, I actually went to your place in New York. So I know your mouthpieces are top notch. They're awesome. Do you feel like, does it like open up the sound? Does it make it more spread? Does it make it more focused? Does it do any of that? Like what are the characteristics?
So it warms it up a little bit. And I'm inside the mouthpiece is what I'm dealing with what amount of spread I want, what amount of focus I want, and that thing. But that's the best way to tell from the unhammered to the hammered what it does. It makes it blow a little better, like kind of freer and more open. And the thing about this mouthpiece is the intense amount of bottom that it has with, and this is what I always love, I want to cut how I want to cut, but I don't want to sacrifice bottom. And people are really going crazy on that aspect of it. And so then we tried on the power ring, and we didn't know if that was going to work. Actually, the hand hammer changes the inside of the power ring too, because he wails on these things. And but it's working great. So, and we figured, well, it's going to be hard to put a regular ligature on this beautiful mouthpiece. So we're doing that. We might start offering it in our regular power rings too. Of rose gold, because it's really beautiful. It sounds very warm. So
It's just stunning to look at. It's just absolutely stunning to look at. And this isn't the only thing either, though. I mean, you have the Shedville brand, you've got the Rousseau brand over here. You've got so many things going on for you. It's just, I'm so happy for you.
Thanks a lot. I'll bring you another new thing.
Awesome, cool. And I'm going to come over here.
So, in Rousseau mouthpieces, it's the 50th year anniversary. They started in 1972. Dr. Rousseau started, and we acquired this at the NAMM Show, really, in 2020. Yeah. And so what we've done is made the first new Rousseau mouthpiece in about 10 years, I think. But this is my design, but fully going off of Dr. Rousseau's design of the NC4, and then adding my touches and our manufacturing method, which we can get this beautiful repeatability. So we've got a Rousseau mouthpiece which is known to have a great projection and a certain color to the sound. It's got unique architecture in here, which is Dr. Rousseau's. And then what I wanted to do was make this a little bit more accessible for all classical saxophonists, which was to warm it up just a little. Rousseau is known for this great big sound in the classical world. And so we warmed it up a little bit. We made it effortless on the low notes, really warm sound. And we put it in our Shedville rubber, Shedville rubber is this softer rubber, which is really warm sounding. And we put a brass shank, kind of a heavy brass shank. Again, we're doing that on our custom dark, HR Star custom dark line in JodyJazz. And again, it adds this little body. It's so that's new, and there's two versions of that called the ER50. It's called the ER50 for Eugene Rousseau 50th anniversary, and ER50 Classic, which is this straight ahead Rousseau style. ER50 Custom, which is a little darker with a little more resistance. So that's new. And then we've completed our HR Star custom dark line with the Baritone.
Awesome. And while you're getting some more supplies here, I'm going to be asking you, the ER50, that's more for the professional player, or what do you, like, I'm thinking about the people that are watching this, like, oh, is that mouthpiece for me? Like, what should I try?
So this is a classical mouthpiece, and I would say serious high school, college professionals. And the Rousseau line, we won on the NC4, which is the most popular. We won 2020 Classical Mouthpiece of the Year with Saxophone magazine, Paul Haar. And so what we've done to the whole line is really bring back the super quality and consistency of these great mouthpieces. So I would say we have the RC and the NC and the R series. Those are all three classical mouthpieces that anyone playing in the classical world should try. And the Studio Jazz, I was blown away. When I bought the company, I didn't know the Studio Jazz. I was blown away by how great that mouthpiece plays. It's burning, straight ahead with a nice punch to it. So I would say, and if you get a chance, try the Studio Jazz tenor alto burning. So it's been a really cool thing getting to know these mouthpieces, getting my sleeves rolled up and just tweaking certain things, and so that's been fun.
It's cool. This is so exciting. I got to say, there's so many things going on here for sure. The Shedville. All right, this is the custom dark right over here.
Yep. Great. The custom dark series was introduced during the pandemic, and everybody was asking for dark mouthpieces, I believe because they were in their house driving their family crazy. But everybody was asking for dark, and we're coming out with this tenor mouthpiece, and it did fantastic. The alto mouthpiece has done great. The soprano mouthpiece has done tremendous. Many of my contemporary musicians like Kirk Whalum and Jeff Kashiwa and Tom Scott all just grab that soprano and they love it. And it's warm because soprano has its own brightness already.
Yeah, I was was just thinking about that when you said that. The first thing I thought, Kirk Whalum, and I also thought, though, for soprano, yeah, that sometimes it could be so bright. I think that's an awesome offset to make a dark mouthpiece for that.
Yeah, and we're finally finished the line. It takes a while to do these things in the baritone, so the HR Star Custom Dark Baritone. Awesome. And it's in that Shedville rubber, that warmer sound, and that heavy brass ring on the end gives it that body. This is totally rounded sidewalls, real beautiful sound. So.
Oh, this is so great, and you know, we were talking before we actually went on the air over here. Let's say you have someone who's new to saxophone, right? So they're starting off on a starter mouthpiece, and you know, let's say it's a Yamaha or even a Selmer C-Star, whatever. Yep. They want to go to the next step. What do you? And let's say they're just learning. You know, maybe they do want to play some jazz, maybe they do want to do some classical. They want something all around. What would you recommend?
I'd recommend the JodyJazz HR Star. As an all-around mouthpiece that's a really easy transition from the classical mouthpieces and the 4 tip openings of a Selmer C-Star, a Yamaha 4C. And if they're going to be able to bridge that thing where they're going to be able to play more jazz, they can even play with an HR Star. You can do a lot because it's got this nice brightness when you hit it hard. You know, what's different in the mouthpiece, of course, is inside it gets smaller than a classical mouthpiece, so it can give you more projection.
Okay, got it.
And then these are very free-blowing, but the tip opening, most people would start on a 5 alto or a 6. So that depends on how much you practice and stuff. And we have a lot of resources online where they can look on our facing charts and see what's the best for them, or they can do our 6 questions, which people do. Answer, you tell us what you're playing, 6 questions, and we'll recommend something.
Yes, and I want to say that again too. JodyJazz.com, right? Tremendous resources there. I mean, I've looked at the facing charts before for alto, tenor, for everything. Recommending my students, I always recommend my students to go to the HRs as the next step. So the HR Star versus the HR 6. I'm a little confused myself.
The HR Star is the model number. So when you call it HR, it's the HR Star. That's it. And then in alto, what we did is made our tip openings in alto like Meyer tip openings.
Okay.
Because that's well known. And then on the others, soprano, tenor, and baritone, they're like auto link numbers.
Got it. Okay.
So altos in the tip openings don't have stars because Meyers don't have stars.
Okay, got it. Okay.
In tenor, that means the star is in between 2 numbers. Like a 7 is 100,000ths of an inch tenor, 8 is 110, and the 7 star is a 105. So that's what the star is about. Just a bigger tip opening than the whole number.
Awesome. Listen, Jody, I want to thank you so much. I know we've got to get ready for people to come in here. I want to thank you so much for your time. And by the way, too, if you also want to know how these mouthpieces sound, I'm going to try to hopefully catch here, you know, get some concerts, whatever. But he's an amazing player, and he models every single mouthpiece. And if you want to know what it sounds like, definitely go to the website JodyJazz. You can search on YouTube. You're going to find all of his videos. You're just an amazing player, amazing teacher, and I'm so glad to see you again after 2.5 years.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.